Hey there, it's Giulia. Welcome to my channel. And today I would like to share a cardboard collage project that I did for school. It was for art class, and I decided to do it about mental health because if you've seen my video about my experience being at a psych ward, you would know where I've been. So and so this was a little after I got out, and I started working on it on April 3rd, 2018, and since I got into the psych ward, which was, if I remember correctly, on Pi Day, it was on Pi Day, March 14th, and so I had so here is the kind of the art project that I did, which before, wait a moment, maybe. Okay. So here is the art project, which you can see kind of, and before I want to show it all good and clearly, I had also planned on a sketchbook for art school, for art class, here, and the day, the piece, and here kind of my description of how I was in the hospital, and I wanted to focus it about mental health because I think it's important and things like that. And here's a bit my planning that I kind of changed it. It's kind of similar but not completely the same. As you see, you only see kind of the face and a little the person and no hands. And then you see here the background over here is with, I think it was acrylics and a sponge. So I did the different tests with paper and different sponges. So here you can see the effect. And also for the face, this mask was a mask that I made in in 6th grade, but I never colored it and finished it. It is of paper mache with newspapers and glue. And before I did that, kind of had a plan what to kind of write on the face. So here it says the corrupt mind. Here it says shame, blame and guilt. Here alone, misunderstood, and on the mouth, unspoken thoughts. It's based on mental health as a whole, but I think with my own experience it was based mostly on depression, and this kind of just came to me the corrupt mind, because sometimes with at least with depression and anxiety, what you think is not always 100% correct. You're not thinking clearly, and you're just kind of in a type of mindset when things come to you. And also with depression and also anxiety, but I think mostly depression, feeling alone, misunderstood, can be very common, and I've certainly felt that a lot. And also at times it can be weird feeling that way, or you don't know why, or you're very confused. At least I felt a lot of that. So shame, blame and guilt do fit a lot with all of that. And also at times with depression, it's hard to express yourself, and it's not always that easy. You have trouble, and maybe you do want to admit something or say something to someone, but finding the right time or actually being able to trust people, and that entire process is hard, or can be hard at times. At least it was for me, and it can still be. So unspoken thoughts, because you think a lot in your head, but you don't always say everything that you think, because you might be scared or afraid how people will react. at least times I was. So that was kind of the planning, and I will show you now better the actual. Sorry, I'm not used to all the camera work well. Okay, so here it is, like, oops, like kind of the idea was like kind of the darkness and like all the things inside the mind, so that's why it's kind of, see, like unspoken thoughts, alone, misunderstood, the corrupt mind, and around it's a bit hard to see, but you can see you do. On the side, if I lift out the hair, it says here, it's like in purple ink, shame over here. Then at the bottom of the face, it says blame, and then on the other side it says, where can you see it? Yeah, guilt. So, and this is all made of like, as I said before, it's made of paper, and which I colored, and also made like the eyes like that way, and also the face dark, because like this can represent anyone, so like no specific eyes or anything like that. And also like this kind of the tears and like kind of the texture is made with, how do you call them, like pipe cleaners. And so like what I wanted to say, like here's a strap with what is, I think, all pastels trapped all around the frame, kind of here inside like all the darkness, because that's how you like your mind is and can be for like the thoughts, and when dealing with mental health and a lot of depression. So like how your mind is, like all the things you're thinking that don't may exactly be true but like you feel like they're true, because that's how depression and mental health can make you feel and act like. That's why, like I said, corrupt to some extent. But then like outside, as you can see, it's much more colorful. So like how what is inside your head, like how you're not actually trapped, you just feel like you are, but there's kind of like more to life, and how you can probably read, like you can get through this, you are not alone. Like therapy, because it can be good at times depending on the person you are and what you're dealing through or with. And here I also put like a will and make it creative. So I wrote positive coping skills, and some of them can be journaling, talking, art, music, and poetry if you like it. So it's a bit like journaling, but maybe a bit more creative, like depending on what you like to do. And this is a Scooby-Doo that I made, which is kind of made of strings, and you like stitch them together. And this is like one of the things, like one of my hobbies, so like to keep me at time like not so much in my head or like busy in some extent, and also like part of kind of art and being creative, so I like to do that, and that can help me at times. And also another thing is people do care about you, because sometimes with depression, like your own thoughts can mess with you. And also it will pass, then your life is worth it. Here I wrote nothing lasts forever. Also that help is available, it can get better. And here I kind of wrote like down on paper that they kind of crumble and like mix different, like the powder, like the pencil sharp, like the pencil shading of different color pencil. I don't know if you can see like the texture after I crush it up. I put like pink, different purples, like blues together, so it can, I think, be more cool effect on the paper, a bit more unique, like oldish kind of, like the paper has more character. And I wrote a bit like poetry, a bit they wrote, and also I did a video on it of me reading it. If you want, I can read it again over here. So, trying to find hope when you think you have none, and wanting to give up, and feeling like life isn't even worth it anymore. It's one of the hardest things you can ever do. Hoping that that something will get better, trying to try harder, when you still feel you aren't really worth it, but you are. You just don't feel it in you. You just don't feel it yet. But life is worth it, and you are worth it. It's just your corrupt mind misleading you, telling you false statements, leading you the wrong way. But remember that all of this is temporary. You just have to hold on and not give in, as hard as that sounds. But you know, deep down it's true. And you have to be honest with yourself sometimes. And at times, trying to get back up and ask for help is all you can do. Vulnerability is not easy, but it's worth it in the end. To try to improve the situation, sacrifice is needed, because nothing that comes easy in life is ever truly worth it. Challenges are meant to be overcome. So, this goes a lot with all of this, and also I realized later that I forgot what this, but somewhere there, yeah, it's just your corrupt mind, and by coincidence there's a corrupt mind here, so this kind of goes with this. So I put it together, and I thought it was creative and kind of explained, and also if someone wants to read it, it kind of maybe gives hope to people that, having mental health issues and dealing with mental health, it can be a challenge, and at least for me is and was. It's still possible to overcome it, and says it that it's hard, so makes it believable kind of, but because it's true. But also if you want, you can also do more all these things inside, which is not things that you actually say usually. It's mostly your thoughts and what you, mostly with dealing with depression, what you can go through or think about. So here it says, just lay down in bed all day. Why bother trying? Nothing will get better. I can't take it anymore. And then here it says, no one cares about me. And then here, I am a disappointment, not good enough, worthless. And then here, I can't take it anymore. And then I will always be stuck here. Over here is oops, wait. Just end it already. And then here it says, I am a failure, I can't do anything right, and I don't want to be alive. Nothing is worth it no more. And all of these thoughts are thoughts that you, the corrupt mind, makes up and believes and thinks. At least, maybe I've not said all of them to myself, but at least some of them I have, things that have came up or work on the project, that are just thoughts, negative thoughts that come up. At least I cannot speak for everybody else, but for me, when I've been dealing through the I have some harder days or a hard period when dealing through all of this, that these thoughts have come up, and some of them seem truer than others, and also this because some days have just been hard to get out of bed, actually want to do something, and with depression many times at least I can't speak for other people, but how I say for myself, I felt kind of hopeless and not really knowing what to do with my life, and what's even the meaning of, or what's even the point of trying, and you're just in a negative mindset and you just don't really know how to get out of it. That's why I think it makes sense, kind of with a friend, So you see like the 3D effect, like actually being trapped. They had like all this darkness is being trapped inside of you, and until you really kind of start to actually ask for help and expressing it, it's very hard to get better and improve it by yourself. So this is kind of like bringing awareness to all of this. And how I said before, how I was at the psych ward and been dealing with very intense with all of this. This is actually something that I had also like written somewhere else, like a morning when I was not feeling that great. It was a school day, and this was on, wait a moment, I had written this, I have it number like here on a piece of paper, so like, but I had actually written this at 6:27 a.m. on Thursday, March 8th, 2018. Like I said before, like there I wrote, I am a failure, I cannot do anything right, and I don't want to be alive. Nothing is worth it no more. And that I had written it. Maybe I've said this before. I think so, when I kind of told the story of me being in the psych ward, how that day just everything like seemed out of place a bit. I had I think math for first period in the morning that day, and I didn't finish my homework. And it's hard to do your homework sometimes when you deal with depression. Just like you lose motivation, and like you think like what's the point, and you're just very harsh on yourself. And sometimes maybe also me being a perfectionist, if I cannot do it perfectly, what's even the point of trying? And either all or none kind of mindset of being a perfectionist as well. And just everything seems so hard and intense. And then maybe with the depression, the anxiety mixed together. So then in the morning, freaking out and feeling a lot of emotions and just don't know what to do. I had this, right before I wrote this, like a few seconds, I kind of like maybe had a trigger, I don't know exactly, but I saw a, what's it called, like kind of an X-Acto knife, like on my desk, like it's used like for cutting pepper and such, like a sharp edge. And I had a thought of maybe trying to use it or something, but like I kind of blocked that out of my head because I knew it was not the right thing to do, and to just make everything worse. So that's why I didn't do it. And but I see I was feeling a lot, so I wrote this. And then it was like I was already ready for school and everything, kind of, or was about to be. And I kind of like went to the bathroom, and I was freaking out and I was feeling a lot, but at the same time I didn't really know what I was feeling, like a bit shortness of breath, and everything was very intense. So I kind of just went to the bathroom and didn't really want to come out, and like was there on the toilet, like I like with my hands, like I was kind of like scratching like my legs because I just didn't know what to do, and I didn't really make any. Maybe I was like scratching a bit hard because it was so intense, but didn't really make any damage. Like any of the marks like were gone. Like it was not anything completely dangerous, but like that was kind of the first time I had such like an intense, maybe intrusive thought that I didn't think like that would actually happen. So just everything was intense, and like other experiences of like not be able to finish the homework before, and like being so kind of disappointed in myself, and feel like everything is just going wrong, but still being tired, not really want to get out of bed, and also what the teachers might think of me, and maybe it's better if I change the camera viewpoint. So it was just all of it a lot, and so that is kind of like the explanation for. Wait a moment again. The explanation for this knows a bit why made it like kind of stand out, because it was a bit intense for me to actually write that, but it's also, well, true to how I felt in the moment. And that's also why I like to say when I like the date and the time when I write these things, and also like some of my poetry that I put here already, because with the time kind of like shows when I've done it, like how I felt in that moment, and like makes it true to what I was feeling at the time. So it makes it a bit more personal and more real for me. It kind of maybe brings me back to how I was then in the moment and things like that. So maybe I've talked a lot about just describing one piece of art, and see, like, I wanted to show my creative side, but also kind of like bringing more awareness like for mental health, and maybe more strongly about anxiety and depression. So here is my art piece, if you can call it that, or whatever you want to call it. So here it is, and what moment. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want, you can like it and maybe comment down below what you think, or anything you may want to say, or anything like that, and subscribe if you want to. Keep on watching, see what will be next, because I don't know yet, so please stay tuned.